Do you have any tips on, for money? Are there any tips or traps around money? What do you think about it?
Every role that I've had has used parts of the skills that I have. I remember as this young 16-year-old that joined Westland Savings Bank in Hokitika as a teller.
What is money? He said money is like flow. The more you flow it out, the more it comes in. So you have to keep on creating flow about it.
When stress becomes too overwhelming, that's when things shut down.
Good day. Normally we come out with different aspects on the property market and we talk and hear about a lot of people, but all you do is you sometimes only hear me talking. Well, we thought let's change the way we do things now, and we are coming to you with a new segment which is powered by the Fund Master. And the series is called Money Not Magic. Well, it's sometimes we call it money which creates magic, but it's money not magic. And today at our first ever episode, a podcast and a video release, we have a board member, a chair of the Fund Master board, somebody who's an experienced advisor, a group chief executive, a CEO, a general manager, an advisor, a father, a husband, and a son. Somebody who I will regard, somebody who gave me the first opportunity 15 years back to step into a new world in ASB Bank and start this journey which I started 10 years back as Fund Master. So I would like to welcome and thank in the beginning itself for Shaun's help and support and advice for the last many years, which has made sure that Fund Master reaches its destination or is in the journey taking on different challenges every year. So I would like to welcome on Shaun Drylie, who is our chair of the board, to start our first ever discussion on money, not magic. Welcome, Shaun.
Well, it's great to be here, Deb, and thanks very much for your very generous welcome. And it was nice to be part of the start of your journey 15 years ago. Congratulations on where you and Fund Master have got to.
Thank you. Thank you, Shaun. And, the segment Money Not Magic is basically to, take people through your journey of where you have been in the world of finance.
Sure.
And you've done exceptionally well, going through different countries as well, and did a great job in, managing so many teams. And now outside you're managing other stuff as well. So you have an experience of, plethora of experience, I'll say, to manage and to advise and to guide a lot of people who would like to have that. And Money Not Magic is all about creating that story about your success, about inspiring people, and also making sure that a lot of people learn from this segment of where Shaun and his own story can guide them and help them to improve and go on to the next level. So Shaun, I would like to start with a few questions. And my first question will be all about you. Who is Shaun Drylie? What is Shaun Drylie made of? And about you, that what makes you so charismatic and important and fiery, that the way you are, that you've achieved and delivered and inspired so many people?
Well, firstly, I don't necessarily see all that. I am who I am because I've come from where I've come from, and I've come from a family who was really supportive, and I've always focused on having a bit of fun along the way. And I think if you enjoy what you do, you tend to do okay at it. And I remember as this young 16-year-old that joined Westland Savings Bank in Hokitika as a teller, thinking, actually, this is quite a lot of fun. And I was always a little bit ambitious. I remember saying to the big boss at that time, and he said, where do you want to be? I said, in your chair in a couple of years. That sort of carried me all the way through. So, so I am somebody that enjoys people, and I love creating things, and I love being part of successful teams. And that's probably what's driven me all these years. And what I've found is things build on the things before. So, as whatever part of the journey, it's a stepping stone for the next part. And that's probably what's happened. I haven't planned everything that's happened to me. It's come along because of the things that I've been doing at the time. And that's just been pretty damn cool, really.
Perfect. So about you, Shaun, obviously you start from the Westland Savings Bank and you've been ambitious and you've achieved all your ambitions. Why do you love what you do?
I love it because every role that I've had has used parts of the skills that I have. I'm very people-focused. I came from a family who are very people-focused, and my roles that I've done well in have involved people, teams, whether it's customers directly, whether it's small teams or large teams or organisations. It's getting the best out of people and connecting with people, being authentic, having good energy, and selling a dream. And I think that's what has really enabled me to achieve some of the things that I've achieved.
And that's what makes you love what you do. And in terms of your opportunity, when you led teams in ASB, then Commonwealth Bank, and then SBS Bank, and then now to Carbon, how has this journey been of experience and meeting so many people all throughout the world, and a lot of lessons and a lot of learnings? How has the whole journey been for you so far?
Well, it's been a lot of fun. And I come back to that word quite often, because if I'm not having fun, then I tend not to be good at what I do. So when I'm relaxed, when I'm enjoying myself, when I'm enjoying each experience, then I find I get the best out of it. When I'm nervous or concerned about what may happen that's not good, then I find that I don't get out of those experiences what I need to get out of. So I've been very privileged to be led by great managers. I've had great people around me. And what I tend to do is just take little bits of advice or bits of experience from others, and then use that to build my own library of go-to things. The experience has been quite unique, and it's been a great journey, which hasn't ended. And I think that's the thing. Wherever you are in whatever part of your life, there's something else to look forward to, and it's using all those skills that you've had, those experiences, to sort of go to the next step.
Exactly. And the basic and the most important part, which Shaun has mentioned, is that it's all about having fun as you go. As you said, the journey is still going on, and you're enjoying every day. And what happens is that in any generation, it could be young, old, stresses of today's world basically put you down. And then if you're not having fun, you're not calm. No. If you're not calm, it's impossible for you to, make the most of your time.
Your brain doesn't work well when it's under stress. And you need to stretch yourself, you need to challenge yourself. But if you're in a stress zone, then I find that you're not natural and you don't deliver.
Exactly. And in terms of, that's what, our segment, Money Not Magic, is also about, that it's hard work. It's also some part of luck, but also having fun on the way of trying to enjoy whatever you do, what is in front of you, and being ambitious to a level which doesn't harm you.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, because I've found that the things, I've always been quite true to my values, and things that I am not comfortable doing that run against my values, I've been quite intentional not buying into that. So it's there's a integrity and the way in which you deal with people and honour commitments and those things, I think are really important to others. That's why you've done well with your business, Dev, is because people trust that you will deliver. And it's those characteristics that I think are very critical with success. Yeah,
most definitely. Sure. So in terms of money, this word money is, when I was a kid, I heard from one of my uncles who was a very successful doctor, and there was a discussion on money, and I asked him, what is money? He said money is like flow. The more you flow it out, the more it comes in. So you have to keep on creating flow about it. So what is money to you, Shaun?
Well, money to me is an enabler for me to have an enjoyable life, and to be able to provide for my family, to be able to do the things that I want to do, to provide security, and to look forward to doing some additional things. It's also important for the basics, the housing, the food, making sure that your basic needs are met. So to me, having enough money provides you with the security And then if you're able to have a little bit more than just enough, it provides you with choices. And to me, it's more in that than a scorecard of success. Potentially, I could have made more money or created more assets over time. That wouldn't have necessarily made me any happier. It's what I can do with that money, or how I use that money to, security and optionality choices that I think is what money is for me.
So money for you is an enabler. I could say money is also like friction, which makes us walk. Friction could be a negative connotation for some, but friction is also something which makes us walk every day.
Look, those things that I'm looking for in life, they act as a motivator to do the hard things.
Exactly.
Not everything's been easy, and every new challenge or opportunity has been hard work. And I don't want to make this sound as though it just happens. It doesn't just happen. So you do need those things to drive you. What do you want next? How do you set more security up for yourself? And I suppose that acts as a driver and a motivator when things are getting a bit tougher.
So in terms of money, people are, sometimes scared. Sometimes it's called, we also have this syndrome of people called, if somebody's making too much money, that's not good, not bad. Money also comes with traps and stuff. What will be, do you have any tips on, for money? Are there any tips or traps around money? What do you think about it?
Yes, yeah. Look, I'm a good spender, and I'm probably, I could be more disciplined. But what I have found for me anyway is if you spend more than you earn, you are going to always be running to catch up. So I've been quite intentional about spending less than I earn, and whether that's in saving or repayment of debt, that's been important for me. The second thing is, if you're going to borrow money for something that is going to increase in value, not reduce in value. And I think a lot of people in any day is look to grab the next best thing, but the next best thing depreciates so darn quickly. So if you're going to borrow for an asset that's going to appreciate. Don't borrow for something that's going to depreciate. You run an ever-decreasing circles then. And the thing is, be purposeful with your goals. Life goes by pretty quickly, and you think that you've got a lot of time to save for retirement or save for your house or whatever, but time runs out quick. So be purposeful with your goals and set some goals and set aside some money or some savings or repayment of debt that you will find in 5 years goes by very quickly. And that's very important too.
Yeah, there was a very interesting book which I had read, and it basically pointed towards money. That there was a tip which I always carry with me, and what you said in your words is quite, there and thereabouts as experience. This book was written 200 years back. And what you said in today's time, makes sense to me. It just connects the dots. That, one should always keep some money aside. And, in a dark hole, 10% of his, income should be a dark hole which even you can't touch. And the interesting bit is over 5 years, 10 years, you see it growing, and it just comes handy.
That's why KiwiSaver has been important. Because people haven't been able to grab it at a whim. And it's amazing how it builds over time, isn't it?
Exactly. And that's, another tip in terms of money, tips or traps. Trap is basically if you spend over than your income, and it's a trap. If you end up saving most of it or spending and saving in a balance, then it's actually an enabler.
It is.
So that's where we are in terms of money tips. And, Shaun, obviously we are, finance outfitters, fund master. My next question would be that the economy, this is the biggest question as of today. Where are we? Where are we going? What is going to happen? The doom and gloom, the property market. Overall, what's your take? And it's just for our listeners and viewers, whatever discussions we have, our personal takes on it. It's not any financial advice of any sort. Please do not consider it as any advice. In terms of any advice requirements, you could contact us to give you any advice related stuff. But this is more on a discussion on a personal level. So my question to you is, what are your views on the present day economy? Where have we come from and where are we heading to? Because you've seen so many cycles. So what's your take on that?
Well, I suppose I've got a few grey hairs now, so I've been around for a couple of cycles, and we have gone through some massive growth. Post-COVID, with the money being supplied at such a cheap rate, and people grabbing that, and asset prices jumping. And then we've obviously seen a normalisation of rates coming through, and that hasn't bitten everybody because fixed rates take a while to roll through. So there will be a slowing down. What we've had is a double whammy, haven't we? We've had big asset spikes, and we've had supply, the supply chain sort of blocking a lot of goods coming through. So we've had both demand up, supply down, and that's pushed prices and inflation. So I think we're going to see a normalisation of inflation over time, but I don't think it's going to get down to the levels that people are hoping as quickly as they hope for. The economy itself has had some shocks in it, obviously, recently, so that will take some fairly considered thinking around where the government spends their money.
Yeah.
But employment is up, and there's still a lot of optimism within the business community, and people are still, demanding goods and services. So I think that will see us through, but we're going to probably go through, I'll call it a bit of a grind out process over the next year or so, where things won't be as hot. Things will settle, asset prices will come back. But I saw a stat today that said the average house is 25% up on where it was pre-COVID. And we've just got to reconcile that and say that it's not all about sort of big sprints. It's about staying true to what you've committed to and seeing that out for a period of time. Cycles dip and lift, and it's a case of working that through. But I would think the next 18 months, 2 years, are going to be a bit of a grinded out period.
What's your take on the interest rates?
Interest rates, I think, will stay around where they're at. The floating rates, or the OCR, will continue to drift up a bit. When we haven't seen inflation come under control, and that's really the only tool that the Reserve Bank has got. But I don't think that will come through to fixed interest rates. The yield curve is just starting to come off. So the longer rates are lower than the shorter term rates, which would suggest the market believes that the rates are going to come back over time. And that's where I'm sort of thinking. So where the rates are now, I would say that's probably where they're going to be in about a year's time. And they may drift back a little bit beyond that.
Got that. Yeah. But do you see the 2s and the 2.5, 2.99s coming back again in this market, or
I don't.
Long shot?
Well, personally, no. I think that was an aberration that was based on a need to stimulate growth, and obviously what happened with COVID, that people didn't eventuate. What people thought was going to happen didn't eventuate. So that stimulus, money printing, low interest rates, just took the markets up too high. I don't know how the world economy is going to cope going forward. I think it will be challenging because we have this stimulatory sort of approach to everything, that when things start to taper off, when there should be some stability and period of stagnation or where things reduce, central banks and governments are re-stimulating. So it is creating a bit of a false sense of security at times. Yeah,
the sense of security is the most important bit. My next one, second last to everything. I mean, all this economy changes and stuff, will end up causing a lot of stress to people. What are your tips on managing stress? How do you manage your stress? You said you have fun with what you do. Sure. So you must be going through some stressful times as well. How do you manage this?
Yeah, well, stress, firstly, not all stress is bad. We need stress. We need a degree of tension to get ourselves out of bed, or to get ourselves to work, to do the things that possibly aren't that easy to do. But when stress becomes too overwhelming, that's when things shut down. So what I find, I exercise. So I jump around like somebody who should be a lot younger at F45 gym, for instance. Do that every morning. I take 2 months off a year of alcohol. I don't drink a drop of alcohol because I know that I get better, my energy levels up. I learned to meditate as a 22-year-old young fella, and I found that meditation was useful just to calm the stress and to calm the brain, help me sleep. And I make sure I get 8 hours sleep. And I always take my holidays and enjoy, doing what I do. So, all those things tend to give me the balance that I'm looking for.
Awesome. So it's all about, having that balance, having fun with what you do, and some sort of stress is good. So it's not always about, I want to be happy. We all are happy as individuals. We just let other external factors, affect us. Last question before I let you go, and you've been very kind in answering all my questions. What are your views? What are your views on, would you use a financial advisor or would you go direct to the bank? What is your take on that?
Well, I've been in banking I was in banking for 35 years, from teller to a CEO.
Yeah.
And my observation is banks have started to let themselves down. They haven't invested in the people. The relationship management is not as it was or should be. The call centres aren't being staffed as well as they should be. They've left it to technology to solve it all, and technology hasn't solved it all yet. So I believe the investment in people hasn't been what it should be. Yep. And therefore we have, and I think there's an attempt to grow capability in banks, and the advisory requirements will assist that. But unless you've got a very good relationship with a banker in a bank, I would be shopping through a financial advisor, one that you can trust, because they're able to see the whole market. They're able to understand all the benefits and disadvantages, and they're able to make sure that you get the best deal. So my view, unless you have an extremely good relationship with your existing bank or banker, is go and have a chat with a financial advisor, and you'll probably find you'll get a better deal. I wrote my master's in mortgage broking about 17, 18 years ago, and I have just seen the industry grow so quickly, and I think it's because banks have stepped back from some of their obligations and requirements to really work with customers, haven't resourced it well enough, and I've seen the advisor network really grow, and I think that's the network that I would be suggesting people use if they want impartial advice.
Awesome. So that's basically Shaun Drylie, who's been with us today. Thank you, Shaun. You've been a great support for the first ever release of Money Not Magic. The lessons learned are create the balance, spend money wisely, save money, and also have fun with what you do. And a little bit of stress is all good. And if you don't have the best relationship with your bank or banker, use a financial advisor. Well, on that note, this is Dev Dhingra from Fundmaster. Money Not Magic, Shaun Drylie, thank you so much for coming on the show. And thank you all the listeners and viewers who are viewing and listening to this, and making sure that we get you guests and experience throughout the industry, out of the industry, to your doorstep or to your phone screen or TV screen via Money Not Magic. Stay tuned.